Today on Unpacked.
I was 12 when I started boxing, yeah.
I think I was one of the first Black boys to do ballet at the National School of the Arts. After understanding that it was an international career, that is immediately where my eyes were set on.
You know what? I would like to come and fight in the States. I was getting, for 4 rounds, it was just an upcoming fight. I was getting over 30,000, and in South Africa was getting 1,000 rand.
Wow. Two individuals who took their professional careers abroad and are living their absolute dreams. They're both here to share their stories. Let's unpack. Michael Ramabeletsa, also known as the Troublemaker, is a South African-born boxing champion whose talent caught the attention of fans abroad. This led to him eventually moving to England to further his career. By the age of 12, Soweto-born Thoriso Magongwa had toured extensively throughout South Africa as a ballet dancer. So it was only natural that he would make moves to work at a state-owned dance theatre in Czech Republic. These are their stories of working abroad successfully. Let's unpack. Joining us via video con, we have Thoriso, who's in the Czech Republic. Welcome to the show, Thoriso.
Hello, Liv. It's great to be with you.
And joining us as well via video con is Mike, who's in the United Kingdom. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for
I'm great, thank you. So Mike, let me get started with you. Chat to us about when you first got introduced to boxing.
All right. Actually, I started boxing. My friend used to be a boxer. He used to live front opposite at my house in Thogoza. His name is Linda, but he passed on actually. I was coming from school. So normally when I come back from school, I'm just at home, not doing nothing. They just said, Mike, come with me to the gym. I just want to introduce to my trainer. He didn't even tell me he's going to say what he said. Because when you get to the gym, he said to his trainer, he said, hey, coach, this boy says I want to join the team. So, and his trainer's like, okay, no problem. Listen, son, I didn't invite you. I didn't ask you to come here. You just came here. You wanted to join the team, right? Listen, if you don't come for just one day, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to smack you, boy. I'm telling you. So I was very young by that time, you know.
How old were you about at the time?
I was 12 when I started boxing, yeah.
But prior to that day, had the thought of doing boxing ever crossed your mind?
Never. Never. Because I was like, watching boxing, see people bleeding and all kind of things. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, I can't see myself doing this. So then I trained. I remember I was wearing uniform school anyway. I trained and the trainer was so excited. I was like, oh, you know what? You should come tomorrow. Then tomorrow I went and he said, listen, you're going to be a star one day. Please don't stop. So I didn't understand. When you're still young, you don't understand, you know what exactly he's talking about. I went probably for 2 weeks. And then he says, listen, I need to get you a card to box as an amateur. Then he took me to the test for amateurs so that I can get a test. The card to box. Then we went to Brakpan. Then I got a card. We came back. I got a fight a week after. And I lost my first fight actually because I was so nervous, you know. I couldn't even eat before the fight. So I lost the fight. But instead of thinking, you know what, this is not my stuff, I'm stopping this, then I just told myself, you know what, I need to train hard. And since then, that's how I stick to boxing.
Thoriso, from your side, when were you introduced to ballet?
Well, I was fortunate enough to go to a very dynamic school called I.H. Harris Primary. And at school, we had a lot of activities. We had extramural activities, it's called. And we had rugby, we had tennis, we had all sorts of sport. And then one year, our principal decided to introduce ballet and dancing and all of that kind of creative, activity. And so I went and I auditioned, very curious, little Thoriso. And of course, they said to me, look, you don't have the correct facilities for classical ballet. And that took me by surprise because I was like, what does it take? I was the kind of child I was teacher's pet at school. I was on the debating team. I was good at Eisteddfod. I was prefect. I was one of those good kids. And for the first time, I was facing something that someone told me, no, you cannot do, or no, you're not qualified to do. And that really took me by surprise. And I said to them, okay, then break it down to me and let me know why.
Yeah.
And they said, well, your body shape, your body type, because I was a little bit overweight as a kid. Now that I think about it, not too overly, but for classical ballet, the physicality is very, very specific. And my feet were very stiff and, I was not very flexible. And so I said to them, okay, that is fine. But could you allow me to then attend the lessons? I'll be at the back and I'll be invisible. But just let me see what this is all about. And me being a very diligent student, I went to all the lessons and I stayed at the back. And I've always been a smart kid, so I picked up on all the things that they were teaching. And one day, one of the ballet teachers, her name is Linda Smith, she was a principal ballerina in South Africa. She said, she addressed the class and she said, just show me one of the exercises that she had taught the day prior. And the students didn't know. And little old me at the back of the classroom, I was like, okay, I know the exercise. And I had the chutzpah to go in front of her and show her that I knew the exercise. And since then, that was kind of like the turning point for me. And I was like, okay, this is something that I can put my mind to and really, do something with it. Of course, there was the challenge of my body being a specific way, which led me into dieting, which led me into stretching and really pushing myself physically from a very, very young age. And understanding that in order for me to accomplish and to achieve certain things, that I had to put in the work. And in putting in the work, I fell helplessly in love with the art of classical ballet.
And how old were you at this time?
At that time, I was in the 6th grade, I think. So at about the age of 10, I think. Yeah, or at about 10 years old.
So now from your side, Mike, you are introduced to boxing and you're basically thrown into the deep end and you've already been told if you don't show up, I'm going to come through to your house and, give you a big club. When did it start to feel like something you're falling in love with?
Actually, it started because after my second fight, I won. And all the fights afterwards, I was winning. So the confidence started to grow. And then they nominate for the championships in Eastern Gauteng. Then when I got to the championships, I became an Eastern Gauteng champion. So that's where everything started, like my mom, because I didn't want my mom to buy boxing boots. Because when I need to buy boxing boots, I said, no, Ma, I'll use my sneakers, it's all right, So I already nominated for the championships, and then my mom bought me boxing boots. And then that's what, after becoming an Eastern Gauteng champion, then that's what I was like, what, I've got this. I can do this. And I started to have fun and I was enjoying it, actually. But I never have any plans ahead of maybe becoming where I'm at today, because it was just like, when you turn pro without a vest and you're going to be bleeding. And I still have that thought in my mind, So then when I went to the South African Championship, because I became South African champion twice in amateurs. And then when I got there, and then as soon as I started to get paid on the championship, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I can do this. And definitely going to be a champion one day. So that's why you get to sink in and like I can do 100%, because Tingani Thobela was close to me as well. So he started to see me as an amateur and he ended up managing me. So that's why everything started to kick in. It's like, I can do this. Because I used to watch Tingani Thobela on TV, a kid from Thoriso. So I never thought one day I'll meet Tingani and sit down and have a chat about anything. Yeah, so when I start to sit down with him and have a chat, and he said, listen, this is what I can do for you, and he start to manage me and sign a contract, then I was like, you know what? I can do this. I'm the best. So yeah.
From your side, Thoriso, I mean, both of your professions are not mainstream big in this country. I know back in the day, boxing was quite big, and it sort of has dwindled a little bit. But from your side, Thoriso, ballet has never been this mainstream big thing. So what was it for you that kept that fire burning? I mean, there's many schools that have ballet, but in terms of it being a lifelong career?
Well, my life has been very interesting because I've had to really look at myself as my own personal project. I'm listening to Mike, and, he was fortunate enough to have someone like Dingantabela to look up to and to look at their career trajectory. I never had a Black ballet dancer in front of me from Soweto or anywhere around. I never saw any of that. My first experience of seeing ballet was at the State Theatre watching La Film Gardée, which was a completely white Caucasian company. And seeing a path for myself and thinking, how are you as Thoriso going to do something that's going to be an education, not just for my life, but be that person that you don't have in front of you? And I think that's what drove me to doing ballet. I figured as I went to the National School of the Arts later on, and I think I was one of the first Black boys to do ballet at the National School of the Arts. And I saw what that did to the people around me. I saw what that did for my family. I saw what that did as an education for even the staff around, that there's this, there's a Black boy that wants to do ballet now. And in just understanding the power in my own presence and understanding that my life could be something a little bit more than even what I had imagined for myself. I understood that I could be really living up to this thing called Thoriso. And I think that's where I got my gumption to just keep doing ballet. Later on, even traveling and coming to Europe, competing at different competitions and literally arriving as the first Black ballet boy to ever set foot in those kind of circles and seeing the impact that had. I've always been kind of the child or the person who was interested in telling a story and using myself, my looks, my life, my talent, my intelligence as a tool, and I really felt that ballet was really giving me the language to spread this message of possibility, which I really believe that my life is that the zeitgeist of my life is really possibility.
I absolutely love the juxtaposition of both of your journeys, where on the one hand, you've got Mike, who had this, tremendous mentor who had done it before with the footsteps that you're able to say, okay, this is at least the route I can go, versus yourself, Thoriso, where you were like, okay, I'm going to be the one breaking the ceilings. I'm going to be the first, which I think is quite beautiful. Mike, on your side, I mean, you now had a Dingantabela that's like, I'm going to take you under my wing. When did it start becoming a reality? Because you still were in school at the time, that this could be a career. I don't necessarily have to go and study something else because I'm already on the path to doing what I want to be doing.
Actually, it started after a long time. Actually, what happened is, after becoming South African champion, and I was training with Lefona Naldaba, Hands of Stone. Yeah, he's a 2 times world champion. I was still an amateur, traveling with the train to go to Joburg for training with them. What happened, I went to the test for the Commonwealth Games, and I dislocate the shoulder. My shoulder comes on the joints, like they completely out. So afterwards, I was thinking, I don't know what will happen. Then I had to go to hospital to get the operation. And Dingano was the main man who was there all the time, paying all the bills for my shoulder. So after, I was thinking, shall I continue? Because I was out of boxing for 2 years. I was not too sure whether, shall I continue? Shall I do this? And I just decided, you know what, let me go back to school. And I went to college, Johannesburg College. I was doing electrical engineering. Then when I was there, after 2 years in Johannesburg College, I was thinking, you know what? Let me go to the gym and see how my shoulder feels, because I was out of it because after the injury. Because after it came once, it came probably 10 times. It sounds like lies because I never stopped training. So I was like, you know what? Probably I was not meant to do this.
Yeah.
And then
And where was Dingan in the picture at this point? Because you're injured while you guys were starting to build something. What happened to that relationship at that point?
No, we were just talking on the phone just to find out how shoulder doing and all kind of things. But obviously, as a young kid, I'm growing up and I'm meeting my friends. I'm thinking, you know what? Let me just go back to school and just to enjoy life as a kid. And maybe I was not meant to do this, but he was like forever calling me. Also, he was like, Mike, listen, you got talent. Just, stay focused, be patient. Don't rush anything. You're going to be okay. And that's what I've done. Then after I recovered, and then I was like, I went back. I had one fight as an amateur, and I lost. That was the test to go back to the South African Championship, because I was a champion before when I stopped after the injury. So I lost, and after I lost, I told myself I stopped the amateurs. And then I went to speak to Dingan and said, listen, let's make sure you turn pro, but let's make sure your shoulder is better. Then I will see what I can do for you. Then turn pro. When I turned pro, I got one fight on the South African Baby Championships, something like that, as a professional boxer. And then I boxed. I won my first round knockout. And then that's where the confidence, everything started to come back. It's like, oh, I'm back. And then Dava became my trainer because he retired. And then he became my trainer. So I was more close to Dava. And he was in the game for a very long time as well. So that's why it became like, you know what, this is the business that I can go for it. That's where he started. And that was I even forget the year because it's a long time actually.
Yeah.
Because after I got called by the promoter in Bloemfontein, called Blakey Siwe, Rob's promotion. And he said to sign me. And like, oh my God, I want to be signed by a promoter. That's a new thing to me. So I was like, yo, let me go for it. Then I had to go and live in Bloemfontein. So everything, I was getting paid to be there. They would pay my bills, they would pay my accommodation. I was like, no, I can do this. So I was just enjoying life by that time. I was like, I have to focus. Mind my language, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have to just to focus and sacrifice. So I'm gonna have to cut my friends, few friends that are being involved in things with. I know kinds of my lifestyle. The lifestyle outside the sport. It was a little bit crazy when you grow up, going out, chasing girls, and all kind of things. I was like, you know what, this has to stop. I'm gonna have to sacrifice and do what I have to do to achieve my goals. So that's why I started to take it serious.
Thoriso, and for you, when did this, obviously a school like NSA is already modeling the idea that this is for life. But when did it become a reality that, oh my goodness, this is definitely something that can be my life?
For me personally, it was the reality from the onset. Once I actually understood that after training in a ballet school, you can join a company and it is a lucrative paying career. It was very real. My first check, my first paying gig, so to speak, was when I was, I think, about 17 years old, dancing, still at school. I got to dance with the then South African Ballet Company. And I was a guest artist for a Swan Lake production, and I got my first check. I finished matric and immediately joined a youth ballet company in South Africa, Ballet Theatre African, and I had my salary. So while my friends were going to school, studying and all of that, I was working already. And my goal was to see where I can take this. After understanding that it was an international career, that is immediately where my eyes were set on. I wanted to go and see where, how, what, and I wanted all of that, So I understood very early that it was a paying career and I wanted it to be my career. What was very interesting in my case, so to speak, was deciding where to go as a Black person, which is a whole different game as a ballet dancer. The race card became a thing because now here I am going into a very Eurocentric art form where Black people are not very common. And so you have to find a way and go to countries and cities and companies that are big on inclusion and diversity. And I'll give you a big example is where I am right now in Czech Republic. I'm literally the very first Black person to ever work for Narodní divadlo Brno, the first Black person to work in this opera house, where we have Chinora, which is the drama. We have the opera, we have the ballet department. I'm the only person of color in this entire huge national establishment. And, even in them getting me, it's weird for me to say this, and I hate to speak about color and race and all of those things, but they are a reality. I've often gotten the pass because I look a certain way. I don't look so Black. Some people used to say, you look more Eurocentric, or you look more, I pass, and it's quite a tricky thing to figure out, because on one hand, I have to be grateful then that I pass, and on the other hand, I have to also think, what about my other Black people who do not pass, who are darker than me, who do not look like me, who are not like me, And it was a very tricky thing for me to navigate. But I also understood that if I come into this environment with a shield and a spear and trying to fight the Black thing, it's going to create animosity and it's going to create resistance. So what I had to do is smarten up, get in this wall, and then start the process of educating. And educating not through words, but through presence. Being there, working, showing them that I am of equal right in terms of delivery, talent, in terms of humanity, behaving a certain way, being polite, arriving on time, leaving the theatre, just being the best version of Thoriso, not playing the Black or the white card. And in them seeing that, they then are forced to acknowledge me, Thoriso, the person. Then thereafter they realize, but Thoriso is Black, but Thoriso is also professional. So it opened up their thought processes to what it would mean to have another Black person or another person of color in our environment. And over the years, even though I've only been the only one here, I think now, after 6 years, there's another person of color who's come in, which was like a great thing for me. I know that's very small in terms of what the world is, but in our world, it's huge to have two people of color in a ballet company in the east of Europe, So, these kind of things they are the days of our lives. They are our reality. And we have to understand that the world is only built step by step. And if you want to be something and be something for whatever it is that you're doing, you've got to understand the progress and the process.
And it is a big deal. And I think it's important that you were mentioning the colorism aspect of it, just in the sense that it might be easier for someone like you because you aren't as dark-skinned, you're light-skinned, and maybe on stage it's not that noticeable. And I think it's important that you mention that. Mike, coming back to you, when did the opportunity present itself then to go abroad and to make a career for yourself abroad?
Actually, when I was in Bloemfontein, I had a chat with the guy called Tony Harris, lives in Nottingham. I got a call. I got a number from one of my friends in South Africa, actually. So I called him, and then I sent a few things. I said, you know what, I would like to come and fight in the States, which is I wanted to go to America, actually. And then he said, okay, Mike, send me the videos. and then I'll check how good you are, and then we'll see. I'll send you an invitation and test you whether you can stay over and we can work together. And then I send the videos. And then after a few weeks, actually, he just responded back, and then he sent me an invitation to come over. And then that's how I managed to come over to Nottingham. I was sparring with the British and Commonwealth and European champions just to test myself. And then then he just said, listen, Mike, I could no doubt you got what it takes, but obviously the boxing business is very, very hard to decide. People, they think it's so easy, but it's hard. You're going to have what it takes. It's just not the same as Africa, which is, I know, I understand. I said, no, I know. I'm willing to take any risk. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to take me to the top. And then we had to apply for the sponsor to box over, because you can't just box. The visa thing, they have to work. And I came with a visiting visa, but he didn't have the papers for me to stay over. And then I had to work with someone different, which is it was tough for me to join with this guy, because the guy it's kind of like, he says, where you from, South Africa? All right, I'll help you. You'll stay at mine. I'm going to pay everything for you, but you're going to do what I ask you to do. But I was the wrong person, because I'm the type of person that I'm very confident and I know what I want. And then we agreed, because I wanted visa anyway to stay over. I agreed with him, and I got a visa. I come back, I work with him. But he was kind of like trying to give me any fight comes, whether it comes a week or 2 days, I had to take the fight and go. So which is something that I've done to at least able to make income, because by that time, the income, I was struggling to make money by that time. So after I lost about 4 fights, then I sit down with him. I said, listen, I just mentioned his name. Actually, I was not planning, but it's okay. I said, listen, I don't think we've got the same plan for my career. So what I'll do is I'll take the risk. I'll terminate the contract. If I have to go back to South Africa, it is what it is. But I didn't come over here to be a journeyman. So I came here to be a champion. It is what it is. I don't like get robbed when I'm ready to fight. Not taking the fight. I'm not ready, and nobody's training me, because he used to tell me, you don't need a trainer to be a champion. Train yourself. Just be fit. So I was like, listen, where I'm coming from, I grew up with the champions, so I know what it takes to be a champion. So that's what happened. And I moved to a different places to sign with a new management. So when I moved to a new place, I got a contract. I boxed here. I lived in Manchester. I'm here over there. I left Manchester for 7 years. So yeah, that's where everything started to work it out and get the opportunities for the titles. Some of the fights I've been getting robbed, but I was never ever thinking of quitting or stopping boxing just because I'm getting robbed. I always believe that my time will come as long as I keep pushing, doing what I'm doing.
So Thoriso, what was the opportunity that came to you that then you ended up going to Czech Republic?
Oh, gosh, the opportunity. Well, like many dancers around the world, we live in the world of auditions. It's almost like being a model, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Lots of auditions around the world, and Czech Republic had auditions. I came, I auditioned, I got the contract. So it wasn't, there's no interesting story or anything tricky about it. They auditioned, I came, and I got the contract.
And how has the journey been for you, since you arrived, outside of the possible culture shock? What has the journey been like for you? Because to be able to say you are a dancer at a ballet company, in another country, and you are working, especially during the times we're living in, is amazing.
Well, the journey has been quite immense, I must say. Firstly, arriving to a place with the history of the Czech Republic, or Czechoslovakia, as most people still call it now, is quite immense. You know, this is Eastern Europe. The race card is quite something. I think I could easily say for the first 4 months, I might have seen 2 Black people in my city, 2 other who were actually passing by. They were not even living here. Understanding that, you know, I cannot just we don't have like your equivalent of Clicks or Pick and Pay where I can go buy hair products or cosmetics and stuff like that, because there are no Black people in the city, so they don't have our products. You know, having to learn to live my life via the internet and to understand that everywhere I go, that is not in the theater, that I'm not going to meet necessarily people who are open to having someone like me around. And I'm also quite an eccentric person, as you can see how I'm dressed and how I present myself. I'm not easily passable as Mr. Nobody or Mr. Joe Average. So that was quite something that really needed me to hold on to my strength as a person and understand where I really want to go in my own personal capacity. And also just facing the simple fact of living away from the comforts of home, living away from the comforts of family, living away from the comforts of friends and familiarity. You know, people who live in their birth country take it for granted how important it is for one to be able to just go to your mother's house on a Sunday afternoon and have lunch with them. You know, that on a day after I've had a hectic rehearsal and a show that has broken my body to pieces, that I just wish I could go to my mom's house, cry, and ask my dad to buy me something nice and just indulge. I don't have that, you know, and it was really, really difficult. But in those moments, I had to also remember that this is exactly what I prayed for, what I said I wanted, and that my life was not just about me, but was about the other Black child that's looking at me thinking that they would also wish to live across the world and have this euphoric career as a dancer or as just another person living in another country. So it's been very, very hard, but also it has been rewarding. You know, I think as many people know, when you travel the world and when you exchange with different cultures, you really grow as a person. I don't think I really fully understood who I was until I came to live overseas. I learned my strengths, I learned my weaknesses, I learned what challenges me and what is very, very important and what is not. Being a person who I really view myself as a maverick that is navigating the world and trying to understand what it really means to be a global citizen of the universe. And what that means is that you really do take yourself everywhere you go in the world. Whether you are in South Africa, whether you're in another country, you do take yourself. So the most important thing and the value that I've learned in my life is to build Thoriso fully, to really understand who Thoriso is as a person, without the talent, without the looks, without the family, and without everything. To understand that as I stand in the street and as I stand at Moravskenamisti and catch my tram, that I am a single soul that is in search and in pursuit of purpose and destiny. And, you know, and that really arms me to be able to go into my career, to walk into an office, to go into a meeting and demand certain things, because I really am full in who I am as a person. And I think living here has given me those tools.
Mike, where are you today?
Yeah, the life is good actually at the minute where I'm at, where I put myself into. I sacrifice actually to put myself in this level because I know my background, where I'm coming from, and you know, yeah, I say I was struggling. I don't know. I was just my mom was just. It was only my mom just raising us at home. And it was a little bit tough, you know. Obviously, my mates were, my friends were richer, and it was only me, probably maybe, who couldn't get things that I want by the time. So to put myself in this position where I can do anything that my kids want, I can go wherever I want. I can buy whenever I want, whenever I want. So yeah, I'm good. The life is good, and I'm grateful, like, to put myself in this position where I'm at today.
Do you have any desires to come back home?
Yes, there's a lot of things that I'm gonna do at home actually to give back to my people at home. The youngsters, people. I mean, the boxing. Like I said, when I come, I'll be doing, like, I'm doing boxing this side. I'm still doing the managing. I've got a gym that I'm running. So those are things that I need to do at home. But obviously, I'll want other people to run that at home. I'll hire people to do it because I know people that struggle to work. When I'm at home, it's a shame when I look at people I grew up with. It's so hard. But I want to do something that it can benefit. It can benefit those people at home. So, like, I went before. Obviously, there's a gym that I'm gonna open in at Eastern Gauteng. Actually, I'll say in the side of Thoriso, but not just the boxing, just the fitness, so that I can have people to work for, and I can also put the boxers, because I'll be managing boxers from South Africa to come and get the opportunity over here, because those opportunities in South Africa, they're not there. Boxers, they don't get paid as they're supposed to, because when I was in South Africa, I remember when I was fighting for 4 rounds, I used to get paid for 1,000 rand. So, which is, when I came over fighting for 4 rounds, I was getting, for 4 rounds, it was just an upcoming fight, I was getting over 30,000, and in South Africa was getting 1,000 rand.
Wow.
And and you can imagine that different. And even there's no sponsors. Mostly boxers that don't get sponsors at home, they are waiting for 3 months to get maybe 8,000 get paid. Wow. You pay all the base, the money's gone. Most boxers, they become champions, but at the end of the day, they went back to work because there's no money. There's nothing they're fighting for. The champions, when I'm defending mine, this is a national champion, as an England champion. That a boxer in South Africa that will be defending a world title, probably I'll be making more money than that person. So that's how it shows in South Africa boxing. It's I don't know. It's so tough how promoters works with other boxers, and most boxers they're not confident, and most boxers at home, they don't go to school, that's one thing I've done when I was in South Africa, because I stopped certain time not to go to school because I was just chasing this. Yeah. But when I get here, I face the challenges that I need to grow. I need to do other things that you open your mind so that you can see other things, because I was facing the challenges on my own. I had to deal with them without nobody, because I got nobody to cry on. I have no parents to say, Mama, this is what's happening. I'm on my own. Those are things that I had to deal with. So look back and see when I go home and look at the boxers, look at this as this is the 2 times or whatever, but this guy, he has even no car. He stays in the shelters, and it's ashamed, So I'm gonna try my best to help the young boxers who are coming up, so that they can change, they can turn their life around.
Thoriso, you are currently on a contract in the Czech Republic. What do you think is next for you?
Well, as I said in one interview that haunts me still, that what I would like to become, I'm yet to see. So, we're living in a world that things are constantly evolving. We have social media that has opened new careers. We have YouTube. We have the industry as a ballet dancer. I'm trying to navigate all worlds and find a segue that I can be Thoriso in all those things. I don't ever like to say I would like to become this and I would like to become that, because I really think I'm a multifaceted person. I'm multi-talented. I have strengths in many avenues, and I'm just trying to figure out a way where I can pull all these things and create a Thoriso career, Of course, I'm going to stay in the arts. I'm going to stay in the ballet world, but possibly later on becoming an artistic director, becoming a ballet master. I would love to serve as a communication gap between the audience, the artistic management, direction, and to just really put and be an advocate of ballet and the arts out there. You know, I would love to be a strong voice for that. I happen to also have my own YouTube channel where I do a lot of reviews on theatre experiences, different ballets, some hospitality stuff. I quite enjoy being in front of the camera, so I think I might explore that also. And like I say, I mean, we're living in 2021, so things are possible. You know, I don't ever want to limit myself and say, I want to become this or I want to become that. All I know is whatever I do, I want to be the greatest version of Thoriso at it.
Thank you so much, Thoriso and Mike. The both of you are just such shining examples that there are ample possibilities. And not to say we don't have amazing possibilities right here at home, but it's amazing that you guys are flying the South African flag high, both in the UK and also in the Czech Republic in your respective careers. Thank you so much to the both of you for chatting to us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hashtag Unpacked with Relebogile. South Africans making it abroad and making us exceptionally proud. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. Next time on Unpacked.
I had just gotten the bursary and I was excited, and then I found out that I was pregnant. While I was walking, this gentleman asked me if I don't need a ride, where am I going? He pulled out a gun, got me to the back seat of the car, and he had his way with me. I literally felt like I'm no longer a woman.
Thank you so much for watching Unpacked with Relebogile Mabotja. Make sure you subscribe to my channel where you can get to watch more episodes. But more importantly, you can be part of our online community. Comment down below, share with us who you'd like to see on the show, what story you'd like us to discuss. We love engaging with you. Keep it coming and don't forget to subscribe.